When Stadia was first introduced to the public, I was extremely excited about the possibility of cloud-native games. And I know that I'm far from the only one. Many YouTube creators such as myself made video after video talking about the massive possibilities that would be enabled by cloud-native games. Be it massive open worlds, insane computer AI, or even thousands of players hopping in on one game. For those of us who fell in love with the technology side of cloud gaming, it was kind of the holy grail. The idea that developers would no longer need to feel restricted on creating games based on hardware that's available to the masses. It was the idea that they could create for the highest end hardware out there and then distribute it to everyone by just streaming it regardless of what local hardware you can afford or use. Sadly, Stadia's promise of cloud-native games have kind of fallen to the wayside ever since they closed their first-party studios. And that's not to say that Stadia won't get any cloud-native games. I certainly think they will, but their focus has certainly shifted. Thankfully, for those of us who want to see that promise fulfilled, they're not the only player in the game, and that's where Xbox comes in. Just yesterday, they made a pretty big announcement that I feel is going heavily under the radar, and that's that Xbox Game Studios Publishing has a new cloud gaming organization within it. They're specifically focused on the cloud gaming space, and their cloud mandate is to partner with world-class game development teams to develop cloud-native games to bring unprecedented experiences to players that can only be achieved with cloud technology. The way they describe what they're looking for is pretty broad, and we're going to be going through each of the three terms they used. First up is ubiquity. In the presentation, they say this is the most low-hanging fruit for the cloud gaming space, and I would tend to agree with their description. It's about making sure that your game is playable anywhere with anything at any time. Or to put it even into simpler terms, just making sure your game is playable on xCloud. And to be clear, I don't think they just mean a straight port. Xbox game streaming has its own features that are exclusive to it, such as their touch UI. Basically, game developers can upload their own images to make the on-screen touch controllers feel more at home with the game. And that's kind of underselling what it can do. In case you weren't aware, the touch UI can also adapt to where the game is at. For example, in Yakuza Like a Dragon, when you're just roaming the streets, it has a different layout than when you're actually in a fight. Another thing it can involve with is recognizing that games are being streamed to mobile devices, PCs, and game consoles. Making UI changes when playing on a different type of device can be a really big deal here. If you haven't already, boot up Minecraft Dungeons and you'll notice that the hotbar is actually different than the console and PC counterpart when played on a mobile device. But if these things are being considered the low-hanging fruit, what else are they looking for and what do they consider the next step? Well, that's Cloud AI and how it can impact both game development and gameplay. Examples given here are quality assurance machine learning testing bots, or toxicity detection and filters, or even machine learning to improve procedurally generated game components. These sorts of things are already in the works and being implemented, but looking even further ahead, we can expect innovative and immersive game experiences that will be changed by Cloud AI. Think along the lines of more convincing NPC characters. This is something that Stadia had talked about and something I really do hope to see implemented because I think it could be a game changer for RPGs. But it could also be used to read player profiles even better and offer relevant content that applies to each specific person. Maybe even improving matchmaking so you can find like-minded gamers like yourself that you can have a better time playing with. But the third and last category is the one I'm most excited for, and sadly it's the one that's furthest away, but regardless it's cool to know it's coming. And that's basically games that use the cloud for a little bit of everything, be it graphics rendering, AI agents, randomization, or special effects like destruction. It can be used for both complexity as well as connectivity by allowing more players per space, new modes of interaction, and more. And I think this is really what most of us are dying to see. I no longer want to imagine all of these possibilities, I want to see it put into practice. I really do wish the new cloud gaming division in Xbox Game Publishing is a success, because I want to see this future regardless of who it comes from. For me, cloud native games was always the end goal. It's the thing that excited me most about this medium. Don't get me wrong, I love the accessibility and the convenience of playing on the cloud, but being able to see what game developers could cook up with this sort of technology, well, that's the reason why I cover cloud gaming as much as I do, because I really do believe that it has the potential to change the way games are played. As many of you know, this channel used to be Generation Stadia, so I've pretty much covered Stadia from the very get-go, and it's the thing I've talked about most. I was super disappointed when they decided to shut down their first-party studios, and as much as I understand for the reasons why they did so, I really kind of wish they didn't, because the truth is that even though Xbox is making this new organization, we're ways away from actually seeing this sort of technology being implemented. As Microsoft was talking about this sort of thing, Ubiquity sounds like it's where we're at, and then we got Cloud AI coming up next, but the true cloud native game experience won't be for some time still. And based on what we know about Stadia's first-party studios, at the very least, they had working prototypes, things that I really wish we could have seen. I genuinely believe they were ready to beat everyone to the punch in that regard, and I wish we could have seen it. That being said, I'm more than happy to see that Xbox seems to be just as interested now, and they will focus on making that cloud native dream come true. It might still be some time before we see it get there, but genuinely speaking, this is the sort of news that hypes me up for the cloud, and I really can't wait to see what comes next. Either way, let me know how you feel about it down below, let me know whether you're excited or not, and as always, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful at all, be sure to hit that like button as it really does help the channel out, and if you're wanting more content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. As always, this has been the Virtual Cloud, giving you the latest and greatest on everything cloud gaming related, and until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.